1 month in Iceland, endless roads off the beaten track through the most surreal landscapes. But we saved the best for last. Route F210, an adventure with deep water crossings, volcanic mountain plateaus along glaciers, rough terrain and endless challenges, but also with the most outstanding views we have experienced in all of Iceland. Join this adventure on my favorite route in all of Iceland, F210. What happened in the last episodes? For our last days in Iceland, we exchanged our motorcycles for a 4x4 vehicle due to some routes not being ideal for bikes because of their very deep water crossings. We had already traveled on 2 breathtaking roads to the colorful mountains of Landmannalauga and the famous volcanic lakey craters. But right when we wanted to find an accommodation, we got some news that would change our plans completely.
So we just finished our route from the Lucky Craters and we're going to the next route now that we actually, I don't know, we were thinking about doing it today, tomorrow, but we just got the news that a volcano here on Iceland erupted. So we're thinking about going back to Reykjavik more quick because maybe we can watch this volcano erupting. It's very exciting. We as well felt a lot of earthquakes in the days before already. And yeah, the volcano is super close to Reykjavik. It's as well super close to the airport. And we only have 3 days left here, so we hope that we can as well fly out of Iceland again. We don't know anything yet, if there's a lot of like ash on the air or limited view. The only news is that the volcano is erupted.
The volcanic eruption and the possibility to witness it made us change our plans. Instead of trying to find an accommodation, we decided to head back to Iceland's capital city Reykjavik, which was only a few kilometers from the erupted volcano. Even though it was already later in the afternoon, we didn't intend to drive the direct way, but on the F-Road 210 through the highlands, 115 kilometers of rough terrain, water crossings and challenging driving, even with a car. So this is the first water of this route here. That looks okay. Then the next puddle is just about to come.
Is it?
Yeah. The only reason we were able to start driving this route even though it was already in the middle of the afternoon is the long days of the Icelandic summers. With the sunsets being at around 11 p.m, we had enough time with daylight left. Doing this route as a tourist with its river crossings in the dark is probably close to impossible, or at least not very recommended.
So to be honest, we have not too much a clue about this route that we're taking now. Only thing we know is that it's long, it's over 100 kilometers and it's very remote, not many people here. And we just met a local and we asked him how the route is and he told us to turn off at a nice waterfall. So we're now doing this detour looking for this waterfall.
I guess I couldn't keep the promise to my travel partner that Gullfoss would be the last waterfall we visited, but never not follow the instructions of a local. A few minutes later, we found ourselves at Axlafoss Waterfall.
This waterfall, big success! Very windy here though.
going straight, right?
Yeah.
Route F210 is not only one of the most adventurous highland routes, it is also famous for its countless water crossings. And the first, pretty deep one waited for us already. And funnily, this was the only time on all of the route that we met some cars. And a lot of drivers just standing and waiting on who would go first to see how deep the crossing really was. So we went. After we crossed the river, other cars followed, but we immediately realized that one of them was approaching the water crossing way too fast, forming a wave on their car's hood, what our guide Birkel in Askja had warned us of extremely. So we decided to also warn them.
Yeah, he's driving too fast, way too fast. We should tell them maybe, because they're gonna ditch in here. Don't go so fast.
Because we probably somehow impressed with our second-hand knowledge about water crossings, they decided to follow us from this point. It turned out not to be a bad decision, because all of a sudden we found ourselves in a storm with volcanic sand.
The view is very limited now. You basically always drive like to this next little holes here on the side of the road, because that's all you see.
It felt like we were on a wide open mountain plateau, the view getting worse and worse. But when we reached a mossy green mountain just ahead of us, the whole scenery felt like embracing the storm, becoming like a magical set of a movie.
So we're kind of like in a sandstorm now. It's crazy.
Due to them having a lower car than us, after every deeper water crossing we still waited for our new friends, who didn't seem unhappy about that.
Absolutely crazy landscape here. Windy, beautiful. It's like on the moon.
We were now driving right along the edge of Vatnajökull, Europe's biggest glacier. In the distance, the almighty glacier, next to us, the surreal windy mountain plateau, in front of us, the volcanic black roads. At that moment, we didn't know if we had ever seen something more beautiful.
So far, I guess we both agree, the most adventurous water crossings here on this route that we did so far in Iceland. Do we agree?
Absolutely, I think the best route overall.
So far the best route overall, but we're like 30 kilometers in, I think, and still have maybe 70 in front of us. So we will see.
We somehow had lost our friends in the other car. We guessed that they turned off from Route F210 at one of the points that would lead back to the ring road more quick. At least that was what we kept telling ourselves. But from that point, we were all alone on Route F210. I don't want to spoil it too much, but we didn't meet any other drivers for the next 70 kilometers.
Maybe we look at it for a second before we... So So this one was exciting. I think even travel partner was excited, is he?
It was very exciting.
Very exciting. It was steep.
Deep and steep.
Steep and
Rocky.
very rocky. Best river crossing so far on this road here.
There are two places and huts that you can stay on Route 210, Alfdervatn Hut at the Alfdervatn Lake and Fangil Hut. Both huts are essential for the long-distance hikers coming from Landmannalaugar and the only places offering beds and shelter in the area.
Super nice here. We are close to this campground, but it's still super windy and cold. We have about 50 kilometers, I think, to continue. So, time to look.
We still were the only drivers left on F210. Only us and a lot of water crossings.
So at these places you always have to look a bit where the road is. Here we get in and here on the back there is the road. So let's head there. So these here are the mountains of Landmannalaugar and it's kind of the back from where we were yesterday. How was this one? Nothing.
Nothing out of the ordinary.
Nothing for us river crossing pros. Maybe the next one is even bigger, we will see.
We certainly got what I wished for, and because the next water crossing was several rivers and no clear route where to cross suggested, it turned out to be quite interesting.
So some crossings like this here are a bit more difficult because you don't actually see where the road goes. So we guess we have to go over this pier to this bank and then maybe cross somewhere there, but you don't really see the road. This one, last one here is a bit more clear again. That for me was the most nerve-wracking one because I think it was very deep. I think as well we chose maybe the wrong path. What do you think?
I don't think so.
He doesn't think so. But it was very deep, I think, at the end, no?
Yeah, it was a little deep.
The most challenging thing of this part of our adventure on Route F210 was us being all alone on the road since we had lost our friends from the first big river crossings a few hours ago.
Next challenge is waiting. You see this here? There is no end of the road, so you literally have to go into the riverbed.
You know the time has come for breaking some new ground. I'll let you try.
Look at this sign, you're not allowed to get out.
You're still my favorite queen of the night. My friend, let's drive off again. Let's drive off again.
First time I ever drove with a car in a river. And you?
Yeah, it was probably 150 meters.
Yeah, quite some meters in the river. It was kind of cool. It was not so deep though, but still exciting.
After driving in the river, the deep water crossings get less and the terrain more easy again.
We're now driving through a nice lava field.
With the sun about to go down and causing a beautiful dreamy light, we entered the last part of F210 and just enjoyed.
Now this is a more normal road again. This is the end of F210. So we're out of here soon. F210 ends here and it was an absolutely lovely journey. I think it was my favorite road that we drove here. And yours?
I agree.
He agrees if you couldn't hear it. So our both favorite road. It's unfortunately, I think, really not for motorcyclists, at least not if you traveled like 201, because it's just, there are a lot of water crossings, parts of them are very deep, there's sand. I would not do it on a motorcycle. Maybe some of you do.
When we're dancing through the stars.
And this here really is the end. Number 1 big ring road. We're back on it. And now that we did our last water crossings and last part of the gravel road, I'm gonna show you something. I'm gonna hide the name of the rental company so nobody can tell us who it is, but this is a hybrid vehicle and is not recommended for river crossings on F roads. I guess that made our river crossings extra exciting. Always a little bit scared that it will die.
We were on our way back to Reykjavik, from where we would witness a volcano erupting the next day. One day before leaving Iceland, I went on a crazy adventurous night hike to see new Earth being built. And yes, this was one of the most majestic things I have ever witnessed in my life. So I already made a separate video of the eruption here on my channel that you can watch if you are interested. When I am dreaming, I sometimes still dream of Iceland. I dream of wide open landscapes. I dream of volcanic earth. I dream of rough edges and gentle green hills. I dream of untouched nature and roads where you don't meet any other people for hours on end. And I dream of ice and fire. Iceland is the place where it's nature and you. It's simple and raw, but it's everything that's needed for an adventure that can't be found anywhere else on this planet Earth. Guys, this was it, the last episode of the Iceland Unlimited series. And I think I really saved the best for last. Give this video a thumbs up and comment if you have been part of this whole journey, and let me know if you also would drive on Route F210. I will make a short break here on the channel, but soon we'll be back with a live chat and new videos. Stay tuned for an announcement in my YouTube community in the next 2 or 3 weeks. Got to go!